down the Ave, no, I'm looking good. I'm banging screw, nigga, diamonds up against that wood. I flips down the Ave, no, I'm looking good. I'm banging screw, nigga, diamonds up against.
All right, y'all, let's get it poppin'. So this is my client's fresh face, or my model rather. So I'm just cleaning off her face with a wipe, just to get any excess oils out of her skin so we can start with a fresh canvas. Now I'm just taking some moisturizer and I'm just moisturizing her face just so that the makeup can go on smoother. After I'm done with the moisturizer, I am going to prime her face with that e.l.f. Putty Primer, the Poreless Putty Primer to be exact. This is my first time trying it out. I've heard other makeup artists really like this primer, so I wanted to see what it was hitting on. So I'm just applying that all over her face because I'm going to start off with the skin. I do like to fan my clients after I prime their face, just to let it sit on their face and let it get a little tacky, so then when I apply the foundation it sticks to their face, and it lays on there nice and evenly. Okay, so she has a little bit of like hyperpigmentation on her face, probably like some acne scarring. So I'm going to go in with some concealer and I'm just going to conceal and color correct those spots before I apply the foundation, because even though the foundation is full coverage, it's not 100% certain that when I put the foundation on it'll fully cover these spots on her face. So just to make sure she comes out with that flawless, soft, filtered, full coverage look, I'm going to go ahead and color correct before I apply the foundation. I'm going to go ahead and blend out that concealer so that it's evenly distributed on her face. You don't want it to be uneven and splotchy looking like that, because you don't want to apply the foundation and the foundation kind of like mix in with it. So I'm just blending that out so that it's an even layer of concealer before I apply her foundation. Now you see me applying the foundation to her face. Don't be alarmed by the color of the foundation, because once I highlight and contour and brighten up her face, it'll all work out how it's supposed to work out. It's just that this was the best shade that I can find that I can work with her skin tone. So I'm just applying the foundation all over her face, and when I apply her foundation, I'm not using swiping motions. It might look like I'm using swiping motions in some instances, but for the most part I'm doing patting motions, like bouncing my brush up and down off of her face. When you bounce the brush up and down off of her face, it gives that full even coverage. When you use swiping motions, it's going to show like streak like effect on her face. So that's why I'm bouncing as I'm blending instead of rubbing the brush back and forth. So whenever you're blending out something, you never want to like drag the brush back and forth. You want to do like bouncing motions in order to blend out anything that you're trying to blend, to give it that soft airbrush effect. I am using the Real Techniques brush. I'm not sure what number brush it is, but I will have it in the description box. But this is my first time actually using the brush, and I really liked it a lot. I'm not really a big fan of beauty blenders just because of the sanitation key. Like, yeah, you can clean out a beauty blender, but at the end of the day, it's only so clean a beauty blender is going to get because it's a sponge. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking a smaller brush and I'm applying that foundation in the crevices where I couldn't exactly get to with the brush, so I don't miss any spots. So around her eyes, like in the inner corner of her eyes, on the under eye area, because I did miss a lot of spots and I didn't want to like stab her in the eye with the brush, because you'll see throughout the video that she's very sensitive around her eyes, so I didn't want to like bring the brush too close to her eyes. So now I'm just applying some concealer on her under eye. This concealer is pretty much the same color as the foundation almost. This is just giving me an extra layer of coverage because I really want that full glam and that filtered look. So to get that filtered look, you really do have to snatch the under eye and really bring that under eye out. So just to make sure it looks nice and smooth like butter, I'm applying a ground layer of concealer, and then later on we're going to go over top of this with a lighter concealer to give it that brightening effect. The areas I like to apply the concealer in is the under eye, the forehead, the bridge of the nose. I do like to apply above the upper lip, and then also a little bit on the chin, because that's typically the middle of someone's face, and typically when the sun hits someone's face, those are the areas that are gonna shine the most. So that's where I'm applying the concealer at, so that when you highlight and you contour, it gives that effect. So you can see me now, I'm going in with some foundation stick, and I'm using this to contour. So when you contour, you want to make sure that you stay above the jawline. You don't want to bring it down too low, because keep in mind that you don't want it to look too messy. So I'm just applying that around the outer corners of her forehead and then also above her jawline, because when you apply a dark color, it slimmens. So we want to bring that forehead in and bring that jawline up to make her look more chiseled, and then we want to brighten under the eye and in the spots, like I said earlier, where the sun will hit her. Now I'm applying that same concealer on the insides, or the sides rather, of her nose. So unless your client wants a really snatched nose, there's no need to over exaggerate what you're doing. Follow the natural shape of their nose already. Don't try to do too much and try to like recreate them a new nose, unless that's what they ask for. But for it to look the most natural and the most effortless, and to really achieve that soft glam look, you just want to follow along the shape of their natural nose. Now I'm going to take the same brush that I used to blend out her foundation, and I'm going to blend out that concealer in the contour that I applied. I really like using the same brush as I apply the foundation because it has a little bit of excess foundation on it, so it makes it easier to blend it out because it kind of just brings everything all together. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to blend out all of that concealer that I applied earlier, and by the time I blended this out, it got nice and tacky onto her skin. So when you apply concealer, you want to let it sit just for a little bit, not for too long because you don't want it to get too dry, but you do want it to at least stick to the skin so that when you're blending it out, you're not totally removing all the product. The product is sticking in the place that you want it to be, and it's not like blending out too much and sliding all over her face because then it can look really muddy. Now I'm using the Mercier Translucent powder, and I'm applying that to all the areas that I highlighted with the concealer. I always start off with the under eye, and I kind of just use like a small feathered blending brush to tap that into her skin. I don't necessarily like leave it on for too long. I do like to kind of like press it into her skin so that it can set the concealer, because you don't want the concealer on the under eyes to crease because that doesn't look too cute. And I also like to be extra and bring it onto the sides of the nose. That really gives it that snatched effect that you're going for when you're trying to contour and highlight. And then I'm also going to apply it to her forehead and as well. I'm using the black Radiance contour palette in the shade light to medium, and I'm just applying the lightest shade of the palette because my client, she's very fair skinned, so I don't want it to be too dark because it'll be too harsh. So I'm just applying that to the side of her nose where I have put the cream contour on, and I'm just using like a little blended eyeshadow brush to blend that out on the sides of her nose. I'm taking that same shade and I'm applying it to her jawline as well, where I applied the cream contour, and I'm just going to follow suit as well wherever else that I applied it at. To clean up the contour around her nose a little bit, I'm just going to go in with a little bit more powder and just kind of like pinch her nose in with the powder and apply it. This really cleans up the nose contour because when you go in with the powder, with the bronzer, it can get kind of messy right there. So just to make things look nice and neat, I'm going to go in and apply some translucent powder to pinch in her nose, and I'm just going to let that sit on just for a little bit. I already did her brows off camera. I'm going to give you guys a brow tutorial one of these days, but I'm just going to go in with the same concealer I use for her brows on her lid. I'm just going to blend that in. This is serving as an eyeshadow base. I don't put any like powder or anything over the concealer because that would just be too much product on the lid. And I'm just going for like a little soft, cute, subtle eyeshadow look. So you can see me here. I'm going in with the Juvia's Place Warrior palette, and it's a shade on there. I will put it in the description box what the shade is, but it's like an orangish color, and I really think that it was a cute shade. I'm using it sort of like a blush. Orange tone blushes look really good on fair skinned clients. It just really makes their face look really like sun-kissed and bronze. So after I apply the blush, I'm going to go in with some translucent powder, and I'm just going to line her cheekbones or her bottom jawline. That is the part that really like sucks in the face to give it that contoured, puckered type look and like chiseled type look. So that is a very relevant step in the process. Now I'm using the Charles Morphe palette, and I'm going in with some colors from that palette. I'm not sure if the palette, there's names for the colors, but if it is, I'll put it in the description box for everything else. So I'm just gonna go in. I'm doing a really easy, you know, effortless eyeshadow look. I'm not about to do too much. It's gonna look very like blended out, kind of like a soft cut crease, but it's not really a cut crease, if you would say. But I'm just putting this warm burgundy color in her outer corners, and I'm gonna end up putting like a soft pink on her lid. So I'm not gonna really explain it too much in detail because I'm really not doing nothing for real. So y'all can just watch me apply her eyeshadow. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I want your kids to be tall and athletic.
That's what I'm saying. Like, whoever I marry, we gonna have some more kids. Hopefully, we have sons, because I couldn't imagine having another daughter and just looking at Bella and her personality. So I'm like, I want all the rest of my kids, I want to be boys. And I know they're gonna be tall.
5-year-old crisis.
Right. Listen, y'all, my girl, she was going through it. Every time I got on that bottom lash line, she was not having it, you know. Like, when I went to put the mascara on her bottom lash line, she was like, oh, I can put it on myself. I'm like, no, I'm gonna put it on myself, girl. I know you tired of me messing with your eyelids or whatever. I know this feel a little funny on the bottom, but yeah, I got this, boo. But yeah, she did not like me messing with the bottom of her lashes, because it is a weird feeling. It's like a little tickling feeling, especially when somebody else is doing it. But I'm just taking some eyeshadow, the same eyeshadow I used on her outer corners, and I'm just putting that on the bottom line to kind of bring the look all together, because I found over the years that if you do not put eyeshadow or eyeliner on the bottom lash line, your makeup just does not look finished. It just doesn't. So I'm taking this NYX liner pencil, because I do not like using liquid eyeliner on my clients, because it just is a hot mess. Okay, like, you'll put the eyeliner on them and you'll tell them to keep their eyes closed. They'll open their eyes, it gets all over the top of their eyelid, messes up the eyeshadow. So I don't even play them type of games no more. So I'm using like a pencil, like a crayon eyeliner, and this eyeliner is actually really black, so I really like it. So I'm just going ahead and just blending that out there. I'm not really doing much here. I'm just going in with it's the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour palette. It's like a really light shade on there, kind of like her skin tone, and I'm just blotting that, pressing that into the highlighted parts of her face, kind of just to set it a little bit better. And then like I'm just very like extra, so I just went in with like a little blush right there. So now I'm gonna line her lips. This is an NYX lip liner. I will have that in the description box as well, the exact shade that I use. So I'm just lining the outside of her lips. I believe this shade is called Club Hopper. It's their matte lip liner. I really like this lip liner. It really looks good on clients, and it goes on like so buttery. I love NYX's lip products. Like, they have the best lip gloss and the best lip liners, because their lip glosses do not make your lips feel all gunky and sticky. You know, it goes on very smooth. So I'm just slightly overlining her lips. She already has really nice full lips, but just to make it pop a little bit more and to be a little extra or whatever, I'm overlining her lips a little bit. For lip gloss, I'm using the NYX Lingerie gloss in the shade Spirit. I love how this lip gloss looks on her. It looks so poppin'. It's something a little subtle. I didn't want to do nothing too drastic. I wanted to stay like on the soft, natural side. So I'm just using a disposable lipstick wand and applying that to her lips. I'm going to go ahead and spray her face with the Dewy Coconut Setting Mist by e.l.f. It smells so good, y'all. So after I spray her face with the mist, while it has some hydration, I'm going to go in and add some highlight to the balls of her cheeks. And then I'm going to go ahead and spray her face with the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. And here she is, looking fabulous and cute, y'all. She looks so good. Skin looks so flawless. Like, look at that beautiful smile. Looking beautiful. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know what looks y'all want to see in the comments, and I will be coming at y'all with more tutorials. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Bye.